wanna make a buck, but you really kinda suck. Well, you are in luck, all you need is pluck. Ideas from someone, they won't need to be that fun. Steal your ideas, don't worry, get your money and run. Or don't run, because making sequels will make you more money, Lamau. Hey guys, have you ever heard of Bendy and the Ink Machine? Bendy is a stylized episodic horror game series published by Joey Drew Studios, with the full game being composed of 5 different chapters, each being released at different dates and times. The philosophy behind the episodic chapter-based format being that it allows the devs some time to plan out story events and make changes to the overall narrative if they want to. And upon the full release, it was good. All the chapters are playable outright, you just have to unlock them by actually playing the game. The game itself only costing $20. Following this, a carbon copy would show up with the same exact episodic nature. Same concept of the player character visiting this spooky puzzle dungeon with formerly child-friendly characters. Ooh. This spooky puzzle dungeon being related to the player character in some way. How deep. Now, to its credit, Poppy Playtime isn't a video game, but rather a front to sell toys. It doesn't matter that it copied other people's homework and then changed it just enough to not get called out. They exploited algorithms to an admittedly impressive degree, all for that delicious bottom line. Imagine selling a 30-minute tech demo for $5 and then backstepping and making it free when people smell the shenanigans. Is anybody going to tell them that the Nintendo Switch version is still $5? This is not a good game series, and the company behind it are not good people. And not because of the weird fetish, artistic interpretation of Circus Baby from FNAF at Freddy's. But that's not what this video is about. Because after seeing the jaw-dropping success of a project entirely void of a heart or soul, some other players stepped into the ring. Some of them are Poppy Playtime, but without the titanic budget or, well, talent. Some have taken the genre and turned out one of the worst games I've ever played in my entire life. And some turned the genre on its head and made something shockingly good. Mascot Horror is on life alert, but before I talk about that, I want to talk about this video is sponsored by Manta Sleep. Take it from me, an ardent napper and professional dreamer. You need sleep. I've read books on the subject, and here's a list of things that sleep is. A neurochemical bath that rinses toxic waste, a time for muscle and overall body repairs, a period that promotes immune and stem cell production, a time where things learned in the day are tattooed into your brain, and the act of sleep dulls the bite of painful memories. Sleep is a deeply complex biological phenomenon that we don't know much about, but what we do know is that we need it. Enter Manta Sleep, a sleep mask brand that makes highly adjustable and highly comfortable sleep masks. They sent me mine like a month ago, and there hasn't passed a single night where I haven't used it. Literally. My sister once tried on my Manta Sleep mask and was relentless asking for my code so she can get it for cheaper. So this is my message to her and anybody else who's curious. Look in the description, sunshine, and use code PAKEPAKE for 10% off your order. Thanks again, Manta Sleep. So Banban, right? Bad game series, real groundbreaking information right there, like button on the left. I won't talk too much on the Banban series, there's nothing new I can add. I feel like at this point, if you buy a Banban game, you know full well what you're getting into and are just down to clown on an awful game with friends. Plus the games are so short, I have not run into a single Banban game that I couldn't immediately refund afterwards. So at this point, I don't really care. Garten of Banban 7 released recently. And to my immense shock, it actually got some things right, like a competent horror section and a decent drone puzzle. My hope is that the final installment of Garten of Banban is the first game made by the brothers Euphoric that is of entry-level quality. There's also other things that the series needed, like casual racism, turf wars, and a larger focus on the surrealist aspect of the series. It starts out business as usual, unimaginative puzzles and not scary horror, and then we get an amazing upgrade. That's right, the remote in your hand has 2 antennae. It's stupid, yeah, but it makes the drone function like, you know, how you'd think you'd be able to control a drone in a video game. And then after that, you're released into an airport after spending slightly too much time in the sun. These guys profile the fuck out of you, but that's okay, because they have some buttery smooth moves. All is forgiven. After this, we get a Yakuza 4 rooftops chase sequence where I keep failing the jump quick time event. Funny man dies and Sheriff Toadster tells you to leave him alone. This is so sad. Then comes a trippy road trip sequence with Stinger Flynn as a plane driver. Banban channels his inner Mike Van Wyck, injecting himself with PEDs and publicly assaults a man because of a one-sided internet drama. Then we have a riveting puzzle where we find lights for a theater. We don't solve any complex puzzles or anything. They're just sitting in places. So the puzzle is you have to walk and use your eyes occasionally. After that, we wheel in a Trojan Opila for a patron of the arts. And wouldn't you know it, the Trojan Opila has, how about that? Then we get a classic for Ban, a not fun puzzle where we match characters to their accessories. Thankfully, my encyclopedic knowledge of the Garten of Ban lore made this trivial, and after that we go into a building. The first building in the Garten of Ban universe that has decent content. The clever use of lighting and sound design make this part a genuinely scary area. Well, when I say genuinely scary, I mean genuinely scary relative to the other attempted horror in the series. Is it weird to say, like, I'm proud of the Euphoric brothers for this? It feels like watching a baby taking their first steps. It's shaky and sure, but there's some real effort here. Spooky Goo Goo Gaga Resident Evil Village baby comes in, and on the 7th chapter of this horror game series, there's something that's somewhat scary. Brilliant. After this, another unbelievable thing happens. A solid drone puzzle. Ban, you spoil me. Everything has big arrows, shining lights, and it doesn't even overstay its welcome. I could not be more impressed that a $10 game has about 5 minutes of digestible content. The game wraps up pretty quickly from here. We grab like a gumbo gosh bait to summon big guy, but before that, I got soft locked. Oh shit. No. How unheard of. So Sir Yabba Dabba Doo Giggy Guy Bowtie shows up and has his entire army obliterated by Gumbo Gosh. Gosh hits the Raging Bracky Heat action, which is another brave and shocking Monster Hunter reference, and then eats the lollipop of infinite power. Fortnite. We then wake up in a hospital and everyone's okay, and everything is back to normal. And then we peel a Ban sticker to see blue and orange Ban. Amazing. So that's Garten of Ban 7. A game with a semi-decent horror segment and a decent puzzle. Hard to justify that $10 price tag, but go off, Kings. I think a big thing for this series moving forward would be to make brand new enemies to attempt horror segments, because let's face it, there is not a chance in hell you can make anything scary with this cast of characters. So more things like the Goo Goo Gaga Baby Man would be fun. And yeah, a lot of the same problems that the series always had are still there. I still wandered around super clueless on what I was supposed to do. The price tag is insane, ludicrous. The game series just needs to do something. Something needs to happen for it to divulge from the rest of the indie horror slot, because as it stands, yeah, it's not very good. The next game I want to talk about is Guyville. This is when I realized just how bad it's getting. Guyville is impressively unoriginal. Wow, we went to a scary, child-friendly place. Yeah, I'll be completely honest, I have no idea what this place is supposed to be. Not that I need to, I've played this game before, it was just titled something different. When we get in, we look at a piece of paper on a bench, and wow, the founder of this place is in some shady business. Wow, how cool! I've never seen this before. It's not that hard. Nobody's forcing you to do the exact same thing. There's a reason why people say, copy my homework, but change it up a bit. This is what I'm getting at with this video. It's all the same. The reason why FNAF popped off so hard and took Scott Cawthon from a literal who to a famous millionaire is because the idea of that game at the time was brand stinking new. And not only that, but it was executed with heart and love. To make a game like this, you really have to dig into your brain for inspiration and ideas. It's an uncomfortable process and it hurts. But by the end, you'll have your finished work in front of you that other people can interact with and enjoy. That's called art. Art isn't spitting up an idea someone else already digested. It's a result of conflict, giving birth to and erasing brand new ideas, making compromises and bearing your soul. There is no soul in this. If someone told me that Guyville was made with generative AI, I would genuinely believe it. That's not to say the game itself was made by AI. I really don't think that's possible yet, but the premise seems to have taken some pages out of other books. And by some pages, I mean the book is just a fucking husk. Here is an honest-to-God live reaction to the first monster of the game.
This is just like that one Poppy Playtime 1 thing where Huggy Wuggy came out of nowhere. Speaking of originality.
Yeah. So anyways, after this, we're treated to an out-of-nowhere, really good puzzle that I was not expecting. If I had to guess, this game's developer knows how to make games and just unfortunately took the easy road of playground horror. And after that, oh no, bad guy chase. I love chases in video games. Stipulation: when they don't suck. This chase has so many unnecessary dead ends that you don't realize are dead ends until a door closes right in front of your face. And numbers on the walls that you have to remember for a passcode that you'll have to stop mid-chase for and punch in. With your window to do this being way too small, because a lot of the time, even when you think you're going fast, big bad woolly bully kills you and steals your lunch money, and you have to start the chase from the start again. After that, you get into an elevator that falls, fade to black teaser for the next presumably paid installment. This game is $10, by the way. And now here I am, completely dumbfounded that I played a game that was even less fun than Garten of Banban. And if you could believe it, that's not even the worst game that I played between these 5. Ignore that last one, that's not part of this. Zoonaly is a strange thing. My first exposure to this man was when I saw an Amazon advertisement featuring a toy Mexican figure. Maybe this listing was made by a pasty white gentleman from the deep south that doesn't understand why Black Friday can't be all Friday. Zoonaly isn't a game. It's a series of flipped Unreal Engine assets, all stitched together to interact with. But the only cool thing here being the animals and how freaky and admittedly well-designed they look. The plot is you have to use this light gun to solve puzzles and defend yourself from the monsters. This gun working as a flashlight, puzzle-solving tool, and God's righteous hand. Before you ask, no. Having to use your only light source to solve puzzles simply isn't very fun. Speaking of puzzles, this game doesn't. It tries to puzzle, but they're so horribly designed. Even when you do everything right, you more often than not will end up at the wrong place because the game's physics engine refuses to physic. It just won't physic. Don't worry about that though, because you can grab this light bulb to teleport to whenever you place it. What was the issue with this thing though? I can't remember. Oh yeah. It has one use. After struggling up a tower only to get launched over the safety net that was supposed to catch me, I realized that I had to end the game at 4 of the 20 key pieces. Oh yeah, I forgot the plot of the game. Oops, that was $6 well spent, and $6 even better refunded. My takeaway is that the developer of this game knows how to make 3D models and wanted to cash in on that skill, but didn't want to go the route of investing time and energy into making a game and made a game. Love how some of the monsters have an incredibly high polygon count on their feet, by the way. Reminds me of other games that I play that I will never speak about publicly. Okay, so Zoonaly was definitely the worst game on this list, and it does get better than this, but I just want to take a moment to appreciate how Garten of Banban somehow is the best game on the list so far. Next, we're going to take a look at Indigo Park. Indigo Park is a little bit of a different case. It was made by the YouTuber Unique Geese with an unusual level of polish for this type of game. I like to think of Indigo Park as Banban if the devs actually cared about delivering a decent product. In fact, funnily enough, this same developer even recreated Garten of Banban in 1 week, going off of only YouTube tutorials to teach him game design. Imagine getting mogged that hard. Holy shit, Banban, I would cry. Obviously, this developer has talent, and 7 months later after the remake, Indigo Park would be announced. The game that followed compared to Banban and the others on this list is like a breath of fresh air. The care going into the world design and making the puzzles feel realistic and not just pushing button to do thing aren't qualities that it shares with its contemporaries. Indigo Park is undoubtedly the best version of these games, which that might sound like a win, but it still has that same glaring issue of lacking any originality or creativity. We go to abandoned scary place designed for children. We solve puzzles to open doors. We run into mascots that are, oh no, scary, and they want to kill you. It feels like developers don't want to deviate from the beaten path that's already too well traveled. So they just milk an overused formula to throw out into the market with the hopes of it blowing up. I get how art works. If you're a beginner, most of the time you'll gain your skills by studying people that are better than you and emulate their style until those metaphorical training wheels come off and you're able to comfortably craft your own style. That's a process I know well with YouTube videos and even my own drawings. But you can't honestly believe that a first draft that's just a shameless copy of another person's work can justify a $10 price tag. Also, just throwing it out there, Indigo Park is completely free, and so far only profits are off of merge sales. This game, of any on this list, should be the one to have a price tag, but it doesn't, which tells me that the developer actually does care to deliver a quality product. And if the game right now feels very derivative, if any of them are going to change and make something interesting, it's probably Indigo Park. Also, just saying, I don't think developers shouldn't be paid for their work, but they could at the very least make something worth playing or something that's you know, playable before even thinking about how they can monetize the hell out of their product. To round this video off, I want to talk about a video game that I played recently that highlights exactly what I want when it comes to originality in the mascot horror genre. When I opened up the Finding Frankie Steam page, the first thing I saw that dashed my hopes was the plushies it was selling right up front, barely a month after release. But not even a minute passed in the game when I realized that something was different. Let me show you the exact moment that sold the game to me. And I have a body? Yo, unbelievable. Yeah, this was less than a minute into the game. And while it may seem counterproductive to lead with a jump scare, you know, overdoing it will make the horror less scary kind of thing, minimizing the effect. It's completely intentional. Finding Frankie isn't a horror game. It's a puzzle platformer game with a mascot horror coat of paint. The game is about moving fast, super fast, leaping through obstacles, killing babies, and playing first-person Fall Guys and Minecraft Spleef, which is still kind of Fall Guys. It remembers that video games are supposed to be fun. And isn't that what video games are all about? The only memories I have of these games are getting stuck, getting frustrated, soft-locking myself, which, to be fair, almost happened to me in Finding Frankie. But I have more memories with Finding Frankie. I remember the fake out at the beginning, slide jumping through hallways at inhuman speeds, playing first-person Fall Guys, and maybe a little ruining Rabbit Man's game show, just for Squid Game to happen at the end. It doesn't retread steps that have been taken before. It makes a new path, which will probably lead to some future shitty parkour horror games, walking that path and trying to be what Poppy Playtime was to Bendy. This is Pig, here to tell you, start making something. Start small. Learn what it means to become a creator. Don't expect or even want grandiose results in the beginning. Just focus on getting good at whatever it is. Because one day, once you have all of this know-how and skill, make something new. Make something exciting. There is not going to be a single soul on this planet that's going to look back and think, huh, you know what was truly special? Guyville. Man, what an experience that was. To wrap things up, I want to say thank you all for watching this video. Way shorter than my usual content, but I wanted to get this video out before Christmas so I can quicker get to work on my next big project, which will probably be Monster Hunter Dose Part 2. Please wish me luck. I don't know if I'm going to make it. Also, join the Discord. I want to put your guys' fan art at the end of my videos and you can submit it there. Merry Christmas and see you next year.